She called my inheritance trash and threw it away at my own wedding. 3 days later, I walked into the bank with the waterlogged ledger. When the manager saw the account number, he turned pale, whispered, "We've been waiting for you," and led me to a private vault. What I discovered there wasn't just money, it was the weapon I needed to destroy my father's perfect, fraudulent empire. But first, he had to dig his own grave. This is the story of how I let him. The phrase hung in the air, toxic and final. My father's voice, amplified by the microphone, wasn't just speaking, it was performing. He held up the small, faded blue ledger, the one my grandfather, Samuel, had pressed into my hand just 10 minutes earlier with a trembling grip and a whisper, "For your eyes only, Alyssa." Now it was a prop in my father Richard's cruel theater. Sentimental trash from a senile old man, Richard declared to our gathered family and so-called friends at my wedding rehearsal dinner. The crowd, fueled by expensive champagne and a desire to stay in his good graces, tittered nervously. He didn't just mock it. With a magician's flourish, he dropped the little book straight into the silver ice bucket beside the podium, where it vanished with a soft plunk into the chilling slurry of melting ice and Dom Perignon. The roar of laughter that followed was like a physical wave. But I didn't scream. A strange, surgical calm settled over me. In my ivory silk rehearsal dress, a dress chosen by my mother to project an image of purity I never felt, I stepped forward. I plunged my hand into the biting cold, my fingers closing around the sodden, ruined ledger. I pulled it out, dripping, the pages already beginning to curl and bleed ink. My dress sleeve was soaked, the delicate fabric ruined. I met my father's triumphant eyes, then turned and walked out of the ballroom without a single glance back. The silence that swallowed the room as I left was more satisfying than any argument. But before I tell you what was hidden in those waterlogged pages and how it became the instrument of my father's ruin, let me ask you, what's the cruelest thing a family member has ever done to you at a celebration? That moment of public betrayal changes you. It either breaks you or forges you into something sharper. 3 days later, I found myself not in Newport, but in the austere, echoing lobby of the first commercial bank in downtown Boston. The air smelled of polished brass and anxiety. In my practical, thrifted wool coat, I felt like a ghost among the living. In my hand, sealed inside a transparent Ziploc bag, was the ledger. It looked pathetic, a lump of stained paper, the gold lettering on the cover blurred beyond recognition. Exactly the trash he'd named it. I'm Alyssa Mercer. At 29, I've built a career on invisibility. As a trauma nurse, my skill lies in being indispensable yet unnoticed, a calm presence amidst chaos, a keeper of terrible secrets. But standing at that mahogany counter, I felt agonizingly visible. "I need to access this account," I said, my voice steady as I slid the bag toward the young teller. It was a gift. The teller, a girl with a sleek ponytail and a name tag that read Chloe, picked up the bag with thinly veiled distaste. She typed the account number from the first soggy page, her expression bored, anticipating an error or a nominal balance. Then she stopped. Her fingers froze. She leaned in, blinked rapidly, and the blood drained from her face so completely I thought she might faint. "Ma'am," she whispered, her eyes wide. "One moment. Please don't move." She didn't touch a button, but her posture screamed alarm. Within 60 seconds, a man in an impeccably tailored suit, the branch manager, and an older woman with the gravitas of a Supreme Court justice, the regional vice president, were striding toward me. They didn't see the thrifted coat. They saw the account number. "Miss Mercer," the vice president said, her voice a hushed, reverent thing. "We've been awaiting the beneficiary of this trust for quite some time. Please come with us." They led me through a heavy, soundproof door, down a corridor, and into a vault room that wasn't cold, but silent. The air was still. As they went to retrieve the physical file, I sat in a deep leather chair and closed my eyes. The silence didn't bring peace. It brought back a memory, sharp and clear. I was 12. On my knees on the Persian rug in my father's library, scrubbing at a dark stain of single malt scotch. Richard sat in his wingback chair, watching me, swirling an identical glass in his hand. He had accidentally knocked it over. My brother, Hunter, lounged on the sofa, sneering at his phone. "You missed a spot by the leg, Alyssa," Richard said, his voice a soft, poisonous drip. Girls clean. Men build. When my grandfather, Samuel, shuffled in and reached for a cloth to help me, Richard's voice turned to steel. "Touch that, old man, and the only view you'll see tomorrow is from a Medicaid-funded nursing home window." I scrubbed until the pattern on the rug was imprinted on my raw knuckles. I scrubbed because I believed my worth was measured by what I could endure without crying. The distinct clunk thud of the vault door returning pulled me back to the present. I opened my eyes. The 12-year-old girl was gone. In her place sat a woman holding a key. The vice president laid a dossier thicker than a novel on the table. "Miss Mercer, your grandfather, Samuel Mercer, was a very quiet, very foresight man. In October of 1982, he established a revocable trust, often called a Totten Trust, with this bank. He was not a flamboyant investor, but he was a patient one. He acquired modest positions in a few technology companies he believed in: Microsoft, Apple, Intel. His instructions were simple: reinvest every dividend, never withdraw a cent." She turned the final page of the summary toward me. A single line of black type. Current trust value, $12,467,119.28. The number didn't sparkle. It just sat there, immense and factual. $12 million. I thought of the champagne ice, the laughter, my father's smug face as he let go of the ledger. He had held a fortune and thrown it away, blinded by his own contempt. "Is there anyone else on the trust?" I asked, my nurse's training keeping my voice clinically even. "No," she confirmed. "Upon his passing, you are the sole beneficiary. The assets are entirely yours, free and clear." I touched the plastic bag. The crinkled, stained ledger inside was no longer a pathetic relic. It was a detonator. My husband, Luke, was in his war room, our small apartment's dining table, now buried under a topography of printouts, legal pads, and 3 glowing laptop screens. Luke isn't just a data analyst, he's a digital archaeologist. He excavates truths people bury in financial statements. "It's not an empire, Alyssa," he said without looking up, his voice tight with focused intensity. "It's a house of cards in a hurricane." He spun his primary laptop around. The screen showed a tangled web of interconnected shell companies with names like Horizon Holdings LLC and Beacon Creek Capital. The Newport mansion has 2 liens against it. The family fund he brags about is a rotating door for the same depleted pool of cash. And this, he said, zooming in on a PDF, is an IRS notice of deficiency. He's under audit. He's not just broke. He's criminally exposed. The pieces clicked into place. Richard's public cruelty wasn't just a power play. It was the flailing of a drowning man. He didn't just want my inheritance, he needed it. Desperately. As if on cue, my phone rang. "Richard." I put it on speaker. "Alyssa." His voice was all false warmth, the bully pretending to be the benevolent patriarch. "About that little cottage Samuel left you. The one on the coast. I've been thinking, you shouldn't have to deal with that burden. I can have my guy list it, get you a clean sale. I'll even manage the proceeds for you. You have enough on your plate, sweetheart." The cottage was a weathered shingle-style house, worth maybe $350,000. A pittance to a billionaire. A lifeline to a fraudster. "I'm not selling, Dad." The silence was brittle. Then the mask shattered. "Listen, you ungrateful little," he hissed, the venom raw. "That deed is invalid. Samuel was not in his right mind. I have 3 people ready to swear under oath that you coerced him. Sign the cottage over to the family trust by Friday, or I will sue you for elder exploitation. I will bury you in legal fees until you're begging on the street. Do you understand?" "I understand perfectly," I said, and hung up. I looked at Luke. A slow, cold smile spread across his face. He's desperate. Desperate people make fatal errors. We didn't react. We prepared. For 24 hours, we let him stew in his own panic. Then I called him back. I let the scared girl surface in my voice, a performance honed by years of survival. "Dad, I whispered, injecting a tremor. I went to the bank. About the ledger. How much? He interrupted, greed stripping away all pretense. 12 million, I choked out, then rushed on with panicked, naive urgency. But the bank manager, he was talking about tax triggers and capital gains, and I think the IRS might find out. I don't know what to do. I can't hide this. I could almost hear the calculations whirring in his head. He saw a solution and a victim, all in one. Alyssa, calm down, he said, his voice shifting to a soothing, paternal tone that made my skin crawl. You did the right thing by telling me. This is complex, but I can fix it. I can shelter it all within the existing family trust structure. It's a simple transfer. Bring the bank documents to me. I have the Man of the Year Gala at the Copley Plaza on Saturday. Meet me in the founder's suite before dinner. We'll sign the papers, and I'll announce a major new philanthropic initiative. It will be seamless. He wanted to consume my fortune on stage, in front of an audience, and be applauded for it. Okay, I sniffled. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for fixing this. Of course, he said. That's what family is for. The line went dead. Luke and I looked at each other. The game was set. Saturday night. The grand ballroom of the Copley Plaza was a shimmering monument to wealth. I wore crimson, a color of warning and power. I saw Hunter holding court at the bar, already slurring his words. Richard was a sun around which senators and socialites orbited, basking in his manufactured glow. He saw me and extricated himself, his smile not reaching his eyes. You have the documents? I handed him a sleek black portfolio. Everything. The transfer of the full trust assets to the Mercer Family Foundation, as you instructed. You just need to sign as trustee to accept. He opened it, his eyes scanning for the signature line. He didn't read the title, Affidavit of Assumption of Historical Trust Management and Liability. He didn't see the attached schedules that listed every one of his shell companies and their transactions for the past 2 decades. Arrogance made him blind. He scrawled his signature with a triumphant flourish. Good girl. Now, go enjoy the dinner. Watch the stage. He bounded up to the podium to accepting applause. I moved to the side of the room, took a clear photo of the signed page, and sent it to Luke. 3 miles away, he attached it to a comprehensive, pre-written whistleblower package and uploaded it to secure portals at the IRS Criminal Investigation Division and the SEC. Richard tapped the mic. Friends. Tonight, I am thrilled to announce an historic commitment. The Mercer Family Foundation is receiving a monumental infusion of $12 million to champion innovation. He was publicly claiming ownership of assets directly tied to his fraud. He was confessing. He was mid-sentence about legacy when the massive screen behind him flickered. The foundation logo dissolved, replaced by a stark, official seal and blazing red text, Asset Seizure Order, Case #8842, M. Department of Justice. The crowd gasped. Richard turned, confused. The ballroom doors burst open. Federal agents moved with purpose down the center aisle. Richard Mercer, you are under arrest for wire fraud, tax evasion, and securities fraud. This is a mistake. My daughter, she set me up. The affidavit you signed 10 minutes ago accepting management of those assets for the last 20 years suggests otherwise. You have the right to remain silent. The handcuffs clicked shut. The cameras flashed. The fall was spectacular. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Later, in the now-empty founder's suite where I went to collect my coat, the door slammed shut. Hunter stood there, drunk, rage contorting his features. You ruined us, he screamed, spittle flying. He grabbed a broken champagne bottle from a service cart. Before I could move, Luke, who had been waiting nearby, was inside. It was over in seconds, a swift, efficient disarming that left Hunter on the floor, clutching his wrist, weeping not from pain, but from the terrifying realization of his newfound irrelevance. 3 weeks later, I sit on the porch of my cottage. The salt air is clean. The trust is fully in my name. Richard awaits trial, denied bail. Hunter, facing his own legal woes, has vanished into obscurity. Luke hands me a coffee. It's all yours. Every cent. What do you want to do with it? I look at the endless horizon where the sea meets the sky. Nothing, I say. Let it sit. Let it grow. I'm still Alyssa. I'm still a nurse. The money isn't a throne. It's a moat. It's the freedom to say no. Family isn't the name you're born with. It's the people who stand with you in the silent vault room and on the peaceful porch after the storm. I light a match and burn the original, water-stained ledger page I'd kept. I don't need its proof anymore. I carry the lesson in my bones. Sometimes, the greatest treasure is handed to you in a moment meant for humiliation, and the strongest foundations are built on the ashes of what was supposed to break you.